We'll start in 1 minute. When you get ready to speak, please press the button that says speak. Thank you. Four o'clock, you can start the meeting.
We'd like to call to order the Sugarland 4B Corporation meeting of July 17th, 2014 or 24. Any public comments today? No, we'll close the public comments. Any questions on the minutes for comments? A motion to second. Okay, we have a motion to approve by Board Member Sewell and second by Goodrich. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And we have a workshop today. Neon Lee will review the 2025 budget.
Okay, good afternoon, 4B board. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to just do a quick introduction for Neon. This is the first time I believe he's presented to the 4B board, but you may have seen him present at our 4A corporation before. Neon is our budget and compliance analyst that is utilized between both of our teams for both of our corporations and other funding sources. And so I'm really happy to have him present our workshop for our FY25 budget to you today. So I'll hand it off to Neon.
Thank you, Devin, and good afternoon, everyone. So today and welcome to my budget workshops. And today we will talk about FY24 budget and projections, FY25 proposed budget, the capital projects of FY24 and 25, and the 5 years forecast assumption so that we can have a clearer pictures of how things is going to be looking like in the future. Okay, first of all, I want to present to you the sales tax performance. So this charts right here show us the main revenue streams for SL4B, and there is 2 lines on here. Okay, so there is 2 lines. So the blue line represent the budget lines, that the revenues that we originally estimate. And the red line represent the actual sales tax that we actually received from October to June. And there is a bar chart at the back. So this one shows that how much are we doing actual versus budgets. And if you can see here in February, we have a slightly lower actual than the budget, but that is the only month. The rest of the month from October to June, we all achieve a higher actuals of the sales tax than the budget level. And specifically in May, we achieved a 15% higher than what we budget for. So this table right here illustrates the FY24 revenues, and the sales tax for FY24 will be $8.72 million, which is $670,000 higher than what we budget for. The interest income is $950,000, which is $650,000 higher than the budget. And there's one note here is because the budget numbers that we used to have earlier in the year is when we are still using the old forecasting model, which is we've been using that since COVID is still around. But for the future in FY25, we're going to be using a new forecasting model that is a little bit more matching with what the sales tax has been coming in. First one assignment. So this one here is the reimbursement for the Texas garage. And it will be staying the same as budget as $150,000. Miscellaneous. So this line right here shows the rent revenues from the parking lot as cancellation fee. And on top of that is the participation rent. So for any revenues that was collected that is higher than $2.6 million, 40% of that will be collected by the city. So aggregately, the projection is going to be $9.93 million, which is $1.35 million higher than what we budget for. So moving on to FY24 expenditures. So there will be no anticipated change in expenditures from the budget. The incentive will be including $2 million for AAA Astro agreements and $37.5 thousand for the lifestyle agreement, for the lifestyle center sales tax performance agreement at the First Colony Mall. There is also a $24,000 that was transferred from reserve for opportunities into the incentive lines for the installation of the sidewalk at the Constellation Field, the parking lot C, and the board approved this in May. The debt service has been staying the same. Reserve for opportunities, besides the $24,000 that was transferred into the incentive for the sidewalk at the Constellation Fields, there's also $775,000 that was transferred to the capital projects for 3 different parks and recreational projects. The remaining funds of the reserve for opportunity lines here will be go back to the fund balance for future funding capacity. And for the capital project, I can show you the chart after this slide. The transfer to other funds, we have $1.21 million, which include the salary reimbursement into the general fund and $250,000 to the public art fund. Aggregately, we are at $7.06 million. Have any question for this? Okay. So the $1.18 million I mentioned earlier can be broken down in here. So first of all, we have the fund grant, which is fostering unique neighborhood grants, which is usually the joint participation CIP. We budget for $200,000 in FY24. The landscape replacement for major roadway and enhancements, this one in FY24, it will be staying in SL4B, but carry over to, but in FY25, it will be in SLDC. SLDC, we're gonna take care of this project. The three park projects that I mentioned earlier when we transfer from the reserve for opportunities will be in Imperial Park, Imperial Park Recreational Center cardio room build out. So this one here is gonna be, the plan is to transfer the meeting room into the way area. There's also splash pads for Memorial Park as $85,000. And the park pavilions and shade structures for 3 different parks, including Brazil Park, Imperial Park, and there's one more park is and the Brazil Park, yes. Yep, yes, the 3 different parks in this projects right here. All right, so we're going to FY24 summaries. So we put these 2 columns right here. So this budget here is our projections at the start of the fiscal years. And these columns here show us the projection as of right now. So we have the same beginning fund balance of $17.21 million. The net incomes here, we have a higher net incomes. We have a positive net income because we have a higher sales tax rate. Also, we achieved some saving in expenditures, and that result in a $6.6 million in saving, and that trickled down into the ending fund balance of $16.73 million. And we are higher than policies by $15.52 million, and the bond coverage ratios is 4.8, which is very high comparing to the city policy of 1.25. Okay, so moving to FY25 revenues. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a new sales tax model that is a little bit higher since we are recovering from the COVID times. So we have a higher estimations in sales tax here. We have $8.73 million, which is $440,000 higher than the prior forecast. Interest incomes, we choose the $500,000 because because in FY24 we collect $950,000, so we choose a little bit lower than the actual in FY24, which is reasonable. And the Tier 1 assignment will be kept flat from a prior forecast of $150,000. One note here is FY25 will be the last year that we receive the Tier 1 assignment. The miscellaneous for the parking lot rent in the Constellation Field will stand still at $80,000. Aggregately, we are at $9.46 million in revenue for FY25. Okay, moving on to expenditures, we have the same economic development program is kept flat. The incentive line is also kept flat because we have $2 million for AAA direct incentive agreements, and also 37.5 for the First Colony Mall. There's one note here that this is also the last year that $2 million for the direct incentive for Constellation Field will take place. Debt service is the same. Reserve for opportunities here. So we have a $600,000 increase from last year. It will be for $4 million is for the chart house, $300,000 for public pathway and placemaking program, and another $300,000 for commercial and development program. Transfer to capital projects. So we estimate we budget for $1 million. I can show you the actual projects at the later slide, and it will be with the other for the out year also. And transfer to other fund is kept flat at $1.44 million. Aggregately, we are at $11.68 million in expenditure for FY25. FY25 summaries, and since we are having some higher sales tax revenues in FY24 and some savings, so we have a higher beginning fund balance as $20.08 million. And we also have a net incomes, which is 2.21 negative because we have budget for the reserve for opportunities and other CIP projects. We have the accrued sales tax here is also changed because we anticipate more sales tax than earlier. So that's trickled down to the ending fund balance of $14.65 million, which is over policies by $13.34 million, which means that we are very healthy financially. All right, so this here shows us the long range assumptions. So this shows this new model. That's how we actually. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So the new model shows that 3.5 growth in FY25, which is the CIP, the actual CIP. In FY26, we take 3.8%. That's with 5-year average of CPI. And for the out year will be 3% from FY27 to FY29. And as I mentioned earlier, the assignment will ending in Tier 1 with the last payment for the garage debt is in FY25. The reserve for opportunities will be $20.6 million across the forecast. So it will be $4 million per year since from FY26 to FY29, with the exception of FY25, we budget for $4.6 million. The incentive, the final payment for AAA agreements to Sugarland Astro, it will end in FY25 as well. Okay, so this is the 5-year CIP, and in FY25 we have a Forster Unique Neighbor Grants, the joint CIP of $300,000, and we increased from $200,000 for the future year as well. And in FY25 we also have the Memorial Park splash pad of $500,000. The average park improvement here in FY25 is going to be $200,000 and another $2.8 million in FY26. This one is for the drainage and irrigation system. From FY27, we will have $2 million from FY27 into FY29. And total for the CIP project in SL4B from 25 to 29, it will be $10 million total. All right, this is the snapshot of the outstanding debt service that we are having in SL4B. And this one here is the 5-year forecast for the SL4B. Now, there's a lot of numbers here, but the key takeaways here is we actually having a net income of negative here, and it's because we actually budget for capitals and reserve opportunities so that we can capture the opportunities in the futures when they arise. But the ending fund balance is always higher than 14 million, which is much higher than the policy, and the bond coverage ratio is also higher than the policy of the city. Okay, and that is my presentation. And just let me know if you have any questions. Yes, sir.
And if we have debt service of $2 million and we have a surplus of over policy of $13 million, why don't we pay off some of the debt instead of just spending this money on interest and watching it go away?
I recall you asking that question when we had the subcommittee meeting. We have not yet followed up with our finance department to ask that, but we'll certainly do that before we bring this back to the board for consideration.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a question on the $958,000 salary reimbursement. What was that? Can you go into expand upon that?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. What was the question, ma'am?
If you could expand on what are we reimbursing, the salary reimbursement? Did we did a budget adjustment for salaries for employees, and now we are, what is that?
So the salary that we use to pay for our staff is being paid out by the general funds, and this amount right here is used to reimburse that amount, general
Okay.
fund. Yeah.
That's a one-time reimbursement. Do we do that on every year or what?
So this is an annual, we are all city employees, and yet we do the activities needed for the corporation. And so the corporation reimburses the city for the salaries allocated to the staff that are involved with the activities of the 4B, 4A corporation.
Okay.
It also includes, again, that cost allocation. So there's a cost allocation model for like IT, HR, those types of things. So that 958 is that lump sum amount.
Okay. I had another question. On the parks projects on the forecast, 2 million per year. What are we planning for that? What is that 6 million for?
So I'll have Binglin answer any specific questions, but the CIP is a 5-year process, and the FY25 year is the year that gets approved. Everything else in the out years are just placeholders or what we're planning for. And so with the 4B Corporation being able to fund quality of life projects, which are parks types projects, we wanted to put in a placeholder just to represent that the 4B Corporation is looking to continuously invest in our parks projects and those capitals to improve our parks and reinvest in our park amenities and capital. Parks has a whole list of projects that they're continuously planning for, but this is really a placeholder that we wanted to represent that we want to continue to invest in our parks through the 4B Corporation. And I don't know if you have anything to add, Fengling.
Not a whole lot. I think Devin has summarized it very well. We have looked at our 2018 Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Master Plan. We basically have project recommendations from Tax Board, approved by P&Z, approved by City Council, and then we kind of list the projects that have higher priority, and then brainstormed with Devin's group. And then we have some projects in mind, but definitely we plan to work with them and go over our recommendation, analyze what would be the make best sense to, help with improve the quality of life of the residents, attract visitors. So we have projects in mind, but we plan to work more on the details and present back to you all. Thank you.
One thing that I just want to add for the FY25 projects, we are budgeting this and planning for this as part of our budget. Just like we did in May, each of these individual projects will need to come before the board for a funding resolution before the funds we'll have to have the budget piece, but we'll also have to have the funding resolution piece. And so those FY25 projects that you see listed will come back to you again as funding resolutions for approval in FY25.
And I apologize because I just don't remember the 4 million next year for the Imperial project. Is that a grant or a gift or what is that loan?
So really, I know that it was mentioned, Charles, we have 2 high priority projects in the city, and as you can see, we have significant capacity in the 4B Corporation because of the recent reimbursement that we received from TERS 3 this year, that we didn't know what year we were going to be receiving it in. And this year was the year because they met those thresholds. So there's not a specific agreement at this time for Imperial or our other priority project, which is Lake Point. But the whole purpose of the Reserve for Opportunity is to put it in the budget so that when opportunities arise, we are coming to this corporation for approval of using those funds, but not necessarily having to go to City Council to also do a budget amendment. We anticipate that opportunities are going to be coming throughout the year as we work on these projects, and we want to put a placeholder for that so we can bring it forward to the board.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Well done. Very clear. All right, Devin, Director's report.
Yes, thank you, Neon. So
No.
the next, we have a workshop item for the commercial facade program. We are actually going to request tabling that item as we all experienced a hurricane. And staff has, as you can also see out here, has been very busy in emergency operations duties this week. And so that and making sure that we stay on schedule with our budget adoption was the highest priorities. So we're going to request to table that item for a future meeting date. Okay, move on to director's report. Okay. Oh, shoot. Can we skip these slides? Thank you. I don't know how to do that quickly. Great. Perfect. Perfect. There's your short overview. Okay. So I know I have some things to share under the director's report, but just quickly in the last week and a half, we have been very busy with response to Hurricane Beryl, and staff has done a variety of things from cleanup to getting ready for what does recovery look like for our community and how we can support in that effort. Staff has assisted with and I'm like blanking at all the things, but we've really tried to focus on how can we offer some short-term support for some of our residents. There has been extreme prolonged power outages, trying to lift people's spirits with some snow cone trucks and stuff like that when things have been really hard. And so staff's been really busy doing that. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for their hard work. And there's a lot more. There's hundreds of folks that have been working on that, but it has been a significant effort. Yeah, thank you. So just some quick kind of updates. Like I said, we bring this director's report because we want to try to use opportunities to keep you informed about all the other things that we're doing that aren't necessarily an action item that needs to come in front of this board. So business development, they are planning to do a road show, if you will, regarding the proposed power plant idea up at the central unit site. We also hosted the Woodlands Economic Development Corporation, PG Golf, Yokogawa, and Accredo Packaging at Constellation Field. There's been several BRE visits with Tramontina and Accredo Packaging and many more of our major primary employers, many of them in our business park. And then you'll see there's a reminder there to please sign up for our newsletter. So you can go to our website at sugarlandecodev.com, and there is an option to sign up for the newsletter. It goes out periodically. We really push this out to our employers and other partners to stay up to date on all the things that we are doing. And we encourage other folks that are really wanting to focus on our business community that that's a great way to stay informed as well. So just a reminder there. Marketing and tourism, also tourism supported and hosted some partners from Go Ape, First Colony Mall, some of our small business community from Toasted Yolk, Flying Saucer. And so that's been a great turnout. Our Visit Sugarland Instagram has really been growing. So 30% growth, that's 839 followers. We're really pushing towards that 20,000 goal. We have a wall in our office where we kind of put up those achievements. And I remember it was not long ago that we celebrated that we had 10,000. So that following has really been growing. And this is important because it's the way that we can continue to get the message out there. The more followers we have, the more that people will see and will be able to effectively promote all the amazing things about Sugarland and get those visitors to come here and spend their sales tax dollars in Sugarland. For community development, so here's kind of some highlights on Great Homes. We've had 68 home improvement projects that have been approved through Great Homes so far. That's about $1.2 million worth of total project costs. The city commitment is $200,000 of that. So this has been an incredible return on investment in terms of using public dollars to encourage other private investment to happen in our community. And so this is our second year and we're already at that $1.2 million mark. This is the program that we're looking at and what changes we might want to make to it to continue those Hurricane Beryl recovery efforts. And so we're going to be looking at how can we continue to amplify Great Homes so that we can continue to help the not only community recover, but continuously reinvest in our community.
Will we make a Facebook page, a post that we could share, like what we could do to let the public know that this may be something they could utilize if they need to get their fence redone or things?
When we're ready with any of those changes, we'll certainly get any communication out. Oh, and I guess that was my last slide. So thank you all for coming in. I hope everybody is safe and well and with power. And we look forward to having you at our next board meeting in August. So thank you very much.
Second.